the first thing I want to do is hop into your last fight, right? Because in your last fight, we spoke ahead of it, and you said this is going to be 4 minutes of chaos. You finished the fight at 3 minutes and 41. How do you even know that? How did you even like predict that? Did something come in a dream or what?
I just knew watching him. I was like, this guy's gonna bring it the first round. He's super explosive, powerful, and his cardio is his biggest weakness. And I really felt like he knew that. I feel like all fighters are pretty self-aware. So I feel like if you know you have bad cardio and you know the guy you're fighting is going to try to put a pace on you, you want to get in and out as fast as possible. The best way to do that is go nuts, have chaos. So I kind of knew he was going to bring that fire. I didn't expect to be on the receiving end as much. I thought it was going to be like give and take, but it was a lot more of just take. But yeah, I felt like, I definitely called that one, right? So I'm 1 for maybe 10. I don't call most of them, but I'm 1 for 10.
Hey, that's pretty good odds, dude. I'm gonna say that. That's pretty good. Most people are 0 for 50, right? So it
That's
is what
right.
it is. From that short period of time, right, inside that cage, it was wild. What did you absorb from that experience that you could build off of in the future coming?
A lot of strikes to that. No, I'm just playing. I absorbed that. I just feel like it doesn't necessarily matter how you feel before the fight, because I didn't necessarily feel great, and I was still able to get the victory. And then it also, I gained a lot of confidence because I felt like even in a bad performance per se, I was able to get a first round finish and a bonus, and I wasn't necessarily super happy with the performance I had. But obviously I was happy with the result. So it just gives me confidence that when I do put together a complete performance, we're really going to have something special.
In training, when do you have more days where you feel satisfied compared to when you're not as satisfied? Because you just said you didn't feel satisfied with that last performance.
I think in training, like, it's funny because when I first get news about a fight, right, I'm never really in fight camp. I'm always training. So it's not like I get news about a fight and then I start training. I'm always in training camp per se. But when you first find out about a fight, you have all these feelings, these nerves. Your energy's kind of weird, and then you kind of start to game plan for the person, and you don't really necessarily. You're not really great at the game plan at first, right? Because it's new. You're trying to figure it out, and then that's very frustrating. Like the first 2 or 3 weeks of a camp, and then as you start to figure it out and figure out what coach is asking of you, and you get much better at it, it's like super accelerated confidence, right? You're like, I'm killing it. I'm crushing everything my coach wants me to do. I'm going to smash this guy. Coach says if I do this game plan, we're going to win, and I'm killing it now. So you feel great. So I would say there's definitely a lot of days where you're like, man, I don't know if I'm getting any better. I don't want to go get in there and look like a fool and get my ass whooped. But then there's definitely, I would say, not probably equal as amount of days where I'm like, okay, I'm crushing it. I'm getting better. And I think a big part of that too is that I'm super new into the sport. I've only been training for less than 5 years. So I still have so much room to grow and continue to get better. And I can see my gains more so than someone who's been doing it 15 years. And their increments that they're getting better are much smaller than myself.
How do you handle the bad days? It can be very discouraging, because your hardest critic is yourself, right? And I've seen fighters break down off a bad day when they've had a whole good week, but that one bad day destroys their weekend basically for them.
Yeah, so I think before my daughter, I
Mhm.
think fighting would definitely have that potential to ruin my day, and training and that sort of thing. But I feel like since my daughter and kind of the issues that we've had with her, I feel like my perspective is much better. I feel like fighting's my escape, and I do it because I love it. I won't say that it's fun. I know a lot of people say that, like, fighting's so fun, like it's fun again or whatever that means. I don't think it's fun. I think winning's fun. I think proving things to yourself is fun. I think being a part of the team is fun. But as far as like training and fighting, I wouldn't classify that as fun, right? There's way more things you could do that are fun. So I just think it's my escape though, and it's something I love to do. And because of that, it gives me the perspective that even on my worst day in MMA, it's not my worst day in life. Even on a day when I take a loss or whatever, if my worst day is a loss or a bad day of training, then that's a pretty good day. So I just try to have a better perspective in terms of how I feel about my days at training, and realize that in the big picture, it's not that bad.
Speaking of your daughter, how is she doing?
She's doing good. You know, we're her thing's so rare that it's a lot of experimentation. And does this work? Does this medication work? Okay, it's not working. Let's back off this medication. Let's try something else. So there's definitely some frustration in terms of a lot of trial and error. But she's a happy baby. She's a loving baby. She's super sweet. Starting to get her own little attitude, which is frustrating, but it's exciting all at the same time. So as far as like medical and stuff, it's still day to day, touch and go. You know, there's good days and there's bad days, but I feel super lucky. She's a sweet baby, and you know, she gives me a lot of motivation.
Definitely. And you return July 9th, around 4 months between fights. When did you decide to, get into a full-blown training camp for this fight?
Also, my teammate Josh Fremd actually originally had this fight, and so I was helping him game plan and was working with him quite a bit. And then he got injured and had to pull out, and immediately I was like, "Let me in on this fight." You know, we'll just swap. We have the same management, so it was pretty smooth transition. And I guess then so 8 weeks out, probably I started like a legit let's train for this specific guy camp. But after my fight, I was only out for like a week, and then I was right back in. So the majority of those 4 months, I've been back training super hard, and I would just say the last 8 weeks though has been specific towards Tresean Gore.
I guess you were preparing for Tresean Gore before you even knew you were going to fight Tresean Gore. So what did you find out about him?
Well, I think he's a striker. I know he's a striker, right? He wants the fight to take place on the feet. He tries to be a pressure fighter. I feel like all the guys he's fought have accepted being on the back foot. He doesn't have a ton of fights. He's one of the few guys in the UFC that has less fight experience than me, which I think I obviously like that. You know, I think experience is a huge thing. And he's never fought a guy like me who's going to press hard, come forward, is willing to take shots, is willing to push the pace and wrestle hard. And I think it makes for a good matchup for me. I think I have really good cardio for the division. I think I have good pace. And I have some of the best wrestling in the division. And he hasn't shown me that he's fought anyone that's going to be in his face and try to make him exhausted. You know, I think everyone lets him kind of dictate the pace, and we'll see how he deals with it. I think it'll be good for me.
Do you see any similarities between Gore and your last opponent?
Yeah, I see a lot of similarities. You know, I don't, in terms of they're both powerful, explosive guys. You know, they showcase it differently. Dalcha was a black belt in judo. He had some grappling credentials. Gore doesn't really have those. Dolch's fought at heavyweight 205 and 185. Gore's only fought, I think he's fought at 205, but he's really a true 185. You know, he's not a very big guy. And I feel like they're both afraid of getting tired. Dolch's response to being afraid of getting tired is, I'm going to come out and try to finish you as fast as I can. And Tresean's response to being scared of getting tired is, I'm going to throw 8 shots around and keep you on the back foot. You know, so they have a little bit of a different style, but I think overall there are a lot of similarities for sure.
Gore, he debuted in his last fight against Bryan Battle, who actually won the Ultimate Fighter. He lost a decision, first career loss. What did you think about how he performed in that fight?
So I fought Bryan Battle as an amateur, so I kind of know what it's like to be in there with the guy. I was shocked that he didn't try to put his foot to the gas pedal a little bit more. He had Battle on the back foot the whole fight. And he just couldn't, you know, when Battle did a really good job of keeping high volume and keeping him at range, and he couldn't really figure out the distance. And he was scared. I really truly feel he's scared to get tired. That's why his volume is so low. I feel like if he would have turned the volume up, he could have finished Battle. He didn't though. And, you know, Battle was able to chip away at him and pull away with the decision. But I didn't think he looked bad in that fight. I just think that that's his style of fight, you know, and I think I'm a really bad matchup for somebody that is going to be low volume and just rely on, like, if I land this one shot, I'm gonna knock you out. Cause you definitely can, but the chances of doing that, you know, they're not super high. So I like watching that fight. I like the matchup for myself.
Yeah, especially with, the level of grappling you have. You know what I mean? Someone that's going to come forward, it's not a smart thing to do, right? When someone can just dip under and put you on your back.
Yeah, for sure. You know, and I kind of struggled with that with Dolce a little bit. I had good timing, but the guy's a good wrestler, a good judo player. Tresean doesn't really have that background. You know, he doesn't have any kind of real grappling background. He's actually from South Carolina. I'm from South Carolina. Grappling in South Carolina isn't like California or the Northeast. You know, they're not known for their grappling. He trains with the Lima brothers. They're not known for their grappling. So he's not ever really getting a look from anybody that can out grapple him like me, which I think is a huge advantage for myself.
That last fight was his first career loss. When you sustained your first career loss, how did you handle it?
It was tough. It was definitely tough. I felt like I had a good performance, as William Knight. And it kind of, it does two things, right? It shakes your confidence a little bit, but it also relieves some pressure, right? You're not the undefeated fighter anymore. You're not the guy who's, I'm never going to lose. You know what it feels like to lose. And it also gave me confidence. I got finished in the first round, and I was like, if this is the worst case, right? The worst case is getting finished in the first round in a fight. And I came home, my life wasn't that much different. I'm going to be honest. My bank account was a little different, but my life wasn't that much different. And I think that's a freeing thing to realize, like, I had the worst case happen, and my life was still good. I was still happy. I had a lot of good things going for me. And I don't know how he's going to take it because me and him are very different. He was saying, I'm going to be double champ. I'm going to be, I'm this and I'm that. And he had never fought in the UFC before, and that's not really my style. So I don't know. I think it could affect him differently than it affected me. For me, it was like, okay, I lost, but how much different is my life? How much different is the only thing that changed was my path to the UFC. I still thought I would make it to the UFC. I never doubted that, So for me, it wasn't a terrible thing. I didn't have the crazy confidence that he has where I was thinking I'm going to go be a double champ before I'd ever even made it to the league, So we'll see, man. It'll be interesting to see if he changes things up or what kind of how he carries himself.
Yeah, I think a lot of eyes will be on him in this fight because of that, to see how he responds to losing for the first time and to a guy that he talked mad shit to on the show and was talking mad shit to him like before the fight and lost. You know what I mean? Brian Battle had a great game plan in that fight. And,
I thought Brian was really underestimated that season, man. He has really good distance control. I'm interested. I'm excited to see what he's going to do at 170.
Yeah, I'm very interested too, man. He's an interesting character as well. You know what I mean? He's not the vanilla, regular fighter. He's unique. Now for this fight, you were already in camp before the camp. So like, who came in to help you prepare for Tresean?
Well, I got Dustin, one of the best kickboxers in the UFC. I got Josh. Josh was out a little bit because he was hurt, but these last 3 weeks he's been able to go pretty full go. I've had another guy, Austin Jones. He's a striker, wrestler, played running back in Nebraska, super explosive, athletic guy, kind of the same size as Tresean. And then we have a new guy, Rob Wilkinson. He fights in PFL. He's actually the #1 seed for the light heavyweights this year. And
Australian,
he's been
right?
a huge addition.
Huh? Australian guy? The Australian guy, right?
And he's an absolute beast, man. He's super tough to deal with, and he's been a huge addition to Factory X and my camp. So, yeah, just kind of the normal cast of characters except for Rob. We've added Rob, but, I'm lucky. I feel like at my gym, I don't have to bring anyone in, really. We got so many talented guys all around, all kinds of styles that I'm getting good looks all the time.
Yeah, you don't even have to say anything. We know, Factory X is one of the best gyms in the world, right? If you're there, you got the best looks. How do you see yourself performing in this one, man? It's going to be hard to top your last fight.
Well, I'm just hoping I can put together a complete performance. Like I said, I'm never going to be disappointed with a win. I wasn't disappointed last time. I just know that I have so much more that I can show and that I can give in the cage. So I really see me putting him on the back foot, him kind of struggling with that a little bit, me grinding him out, wrestling him, striking with him, just making him fight a complete fight at my pace. And I think that'll lead to, late second, early third round finish. I do think he's tough. He's confident. He's got some good stuff. So I think it'll be tough to get him out of there early. But I just think my pace and my grind is just too much for somebody that's so used to being the bully and so used to being able to dictate pace. And that is also on top of all that kind of scared of getting tired. Because if you fight me, I know I'm going to get tired, but I know if I'm tired, you're exhausted. So my goal is just to make him as tired as possible and give him an opportunity to quit in there. And I think he'll take it.
Yeah. When you get tired and you're fighting or sparring, man, I've experienced it many times against little 125ers, running around trying to choke the shit out of you. So, it's tiring is scary. It's scary.
Yeah, I try to tell everyone. I think the biggest, people always say I'm scared of getting tired. I don't think people are scared of getting tired. I think people are scared of getting tired and the person that you're fighting or sparring or competing against not being tired. Yeah. So I know when I go in the cage, I'm like, if I fight, I'm going to be tired, right? It's just, that's a given. But if I'm tired, my goal is to be in such good shape that I know that if I'm tired, you're exhausted. So I've really worked hard on my strength and conditioning this camp, and I think it's such a crucial part to my game that I'm excited to kind of show out and see where it takes me.
There you go. July 9th, UFC Fight Night, man. Cody, you back. Thank you so much for the time.
Yeah, brother. Appreciate you. Keep up the training.